Hello. In our day and age of sitting and everything's computerized and lack of movement, oftentimes, or I'm sure a lot of people might experience stiffness in your neck. And what I'm going to show you today is a couple of different exercises and stretches to do that will help relieve some of that. It can be either pain or lack of movement or movement restriction in your neck and potentially in your back. And so this first one is actually addressing right here. There's a muscle right here. The name is, don't worry about the name too much, but if you're curious, it's called your occipital muscle. And it actually tightens your neck going up and down this way. So I've got a lacrosse ball. And what I do is I place it right here. It's right where the base of my skull meets the top of my neck. So it's right here. I'm gonna place my ball, my lacrosse ball, right onto that part of my head and my neck. I'm on my bench and I'm gonna just roll left and right, up and down on this. I might have to hold it in place a little bit, but this is essentially what I'm doing. I don't need to spend a lot of time, but I've already found some tightness in that muscle there. And get that a couple times, switch sides, do the same thing on the other side. I don't know if you can necessarily see it, but it's the same thing on my left that I was just doing on my right. And that's a little bit of, it's pretty much like massaging that muscle to help unlock a little bit of movement with my neck. Now that I've done the back part of my neck, I'm going to actually massage the front part of my neck. And this I can just use my index finger and my middle finger. What I do is I find right here, right? So there's this area right here where my jaw meets the base of my ear, right? So here's where my ear is, so right at the base, and this is where it meets my jaw. Now if I start to follow my jaw down a little bit, just a little bit, maybe about half an inch to an inch, I find a muscle, right? So I can actually find a muscle right here, and all you're gonna do is take your fingers and just gently press and massage. So I'm doing some circles. I'm also moving up and down on these muscles here. I'm not really gonna adventure out from right here, because as soon as I start to go down my neck, I've got more like blood vessels and nerves and things I don't really want to press on. But right here, this is just all muscle. So I'm just massaging this muscle right here. When I've done that, I now have more movement coming out of the front of my neck, side to side. And now I've also, or with the first roller, I actually have movement out of the back of my neck as well. Now that we've massaged the muscles on my neck, I'm going to move into actual movement with my neck, and I'm usually want to do somewhere between 5 to 10 repetitions. I'm just going to show you 3 just so we can move forward with this. This first exercise is very specifically for taking our head side to side this way, and I'm actually going to bring my head or my hand on top of my head, like the very top, the knot on my head. I'm going to gently pull to the side. I feel a little bit of a stretch happening over here. It doesn't have to be a serious stretch, but just a little bit. And then from here, I'm going to use my hand to turn my head towards my armpit, and then gently, this is the gently part, right? It's all gentle, but it's even more gentle, up to about right here. So I'm starting to look up to the sky, but notice that I've got a range of motion limitation to right here, so I'm not going to really press that. All I want to do is just do this movement. I'm essentially turning my neck or my head side to side, and that's it. Now let's do with my other side. So top of my head, gently pull to the side, look to my armpit, and then look to the sky. But I understand and know that there are a range of motion. That just means how far I can get limitations. And it is my neck, so I'm going to respect that range of motion limitation. And there's my 3. This next one I'm going to do is without assistance of my hands. I'm actually going to put my hand on my thighs, and I'm going to stand very tall. And from right here, without moving my neck around, I'm going to turn my nose to my left. So I'm going to bring the front of my face to my left, again, without moving anything except for my hair. So it's almost my head. It's like my head is on a swivel, right? So here it is. try to get to what I can, and then back. And I'm gonna do the other side. Again, I'm only gonna do 3. Only gonna do 3, but you can do somewhere between 5 to 10 repetitions and get a pretty good outcome from this. And there we go. Now this next one is, I'm gonna actually move my chin up and down, so this is actually manipulating where my chin goes. All right, so first thing I wanna do is, again, line my posture up so I'm nice and tall sitting in my bench, nice and tall on my bench. And first thing I'm gonna do is look up, pretty much as high as I can, like look at the sky directly in front of me, and then tuck your chin down and bring your chin all the way, I'm gonna say to my Adam's apple, but think of like this little hole right here, think of bringing your chin to here. And then look back up. And now really tuck your chin down, but I'm not bringing my head down this way. I'm keeping my head in the same position. So again, it's like my head's on a swivel, but instead of left to right, it's up and down. All right, so my neck stays in the same position. And there's my 3. So the first 2 things that we did, the massaging of the neck, so in the back of the neck and in the front and essentially the side, or it is the side of the neck. There's the massaging, which will help unlock some of this movement, and then there's the actual movement. So we did a left and a right thing, then we did a rotation thing like this, and then an up and down thing like this with the neck. Now what we're gonna do is actually strengthen the neck in the back, and that helps us keep our posture in this position. Because a lot of times when we feel neck stiffness, it's because we're just kind of locked either in this position or something like this. So we're actually gonna strengthen some muscles back here that encourage our neck to be able to manipulate its movement better. So I'm gonna put myself in what we call a quadruped stance. That just means I'm on all 4s. It's a quadriceps, quadruped feet. Quadruped, 4 feet. All right, now first thing I'm gonna do is get into my posture where I've got my head is back and my chin is tucked. All right, so that's step 1. Next thing I'm gonna do is guide my head down towards the ground, almost like I'm taking my nose, like imagine there's like a bullseye in between my 2 hands, right? So directly in between my 2 hands, a bullseye that I'm bringing my nose to, and then I come on back this way, and I'm trying to push my neck and my head back as far as I can. And with that one, I was actually pausing for a couple seconds. That's gonna reinforce that position. Anytime I can pause in a position that I want to have my body adapt to being more comfortable with, I will hold it there for a couple seconds. That's what we do. And so again, it's strengthening some muscles in the back of my neck. When you do this, you might even feel it radiating down your spine a little bit. That's a good thing. That's getting some of these deep muscles, really deep muscles that start at your neck and end in your back, like your mid and upper back area, and getting some use out of those as well. Next thing we're doing is I'm on the floor and I've got my hands on the ground, and this is a 3-part exercise. So the first part is I look up, or let's go through the setup real fast. So I've got my palms on the ground, the back of my head is on the ground, and ideally I want a little bit, my low back mostly flat on the ground. Doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but mostly flat. Now from here, the 3 steps are look up, look down, and when I look down as much as I possibly can while maintaining contact. So when I look down, I maintain contact with the back of my skull on the ground. Now from that position, I'm going to lift off the ground about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, and then hold it for 1 second. And that's the move. Up, down, lift off. One last one. All right. And that's a little routine you can do. If you just cycle through them, all you pretty much need to do is just one time through all of them, and you hopefully notice some changes pretty much immediately. And if you don't, that's okay too. Just keep going with it, and it's really good just for your neck and relieving some tension that you might have back there.